when your work is in alignment with your purpose, when your work is in alignment with how God created you and what He's gifted you to do, then work becomes a joy.
I was recently having a conversation with both of my girls, actually. We were talking about the idea of work and how work is a good thing. I think we, as a society, tend to think, oh, work, and we even pass that on to our kids sometimes, like, oh, I don't want to do my chores. I don't want to have to do all the things that take effort, right? I mean, really, I would say a good portion of humans, if we could, we would just sit on the couch and watch movies all day long or read a book all day long. We don't necessarily want to have to get up and physically, exert our bodies into doing physical work. But we were talking about Adam and Eve, and even in the garden, even before the fall of man, before sin came into the world, Adam and Eve worked the garden. God gave them, that was like a blessing to them to be able to work in this beautiful, incredible garden that God had given them. Now, they probably didn't have the scorching sun beating down on them, giving them sunburns and, being tortured by the things that hurt us in nature now. But still, it was a good thing. And so work is a good thing. So talk about work as worship and that what that looks like and how you even have been able to pass that on to your kids.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the Garden of Eden and work being there before it was hard work, right? Before there was sweat and thorns and all of that.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes 2:22 says that there's nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his work. And the day that I came across that strict scripture, it struck me across the face because I had never heard anyone talk about that before. What do you mean we're supposed to find enjoyment in our work? You mean work is good, right? And then when I started studying Sabbath and I realized that God created rest, not because he needed it, but because he knew we needed it, because he knew we would be so dedicated and so like into our work that if he didn't command a rest, we would never rest.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think it comes with when your work is in alignment with your purpose, when your work is in alignment with how God created you and what He's gifted you to do, then work becomes a joy. Work becomes something that you do find enjoyment in, that you do want to keep doing, right? And it's our secular society, I think, the enemy's strategy to try to make us think that work is bad or that it's something to be dreaded. But no, God says you will find enjoyment in your work, that is good. There was good work before there was sin in the world, right?
Yeah.
And so the key is walking with God. The key is knowing who my God is, what He wants for me, because if He's created me to do this, then doing this is the best way I can worship Him, right? When you think about the illustration I use a lot is that of a toy maker, right? If the toy maker makes a wind-up toy and this wind-up toy doesn't do what it's supposed to do, we say, oh, it's broken, it's a failure, it's malfunctioning, right? It looks bad on the toy maker because it's not doing what it was supposed to do. But if that toy does exactly what it's supposed to do, that is the best thing it could do, both for him, both for the toy and for the toy makers. And so when we do what we were created to do, that is our best worship.
Yeah.
Scripture tells us not everyone is going to be a pastor or a teacher. We need people with all these different kinds of gifts. And if you were created with this gift, then doing that gift is your best worship.
Yeah.
That is the best way to glorify your God, is by doing what He created you to do.
Yeah. I think oftentimes too, we think that our work has to be something big in order for it to matter or count, right? We have to be doing something amazing that the whole world can see. And that's not true at all. I mean, we could be doing something totally behind the scenes that nobody ever knows about. And it could be serving our family only. I mean, that is work in itself. Motherhood is no joke. Being a wife is no joke. It takes a lot of work and a lot of intention, and you cannot do it if you're lazy. Homeschooling, oh my goodness, that is not for the lazy, right? It takes a lot of work and a lot of intention. And so whatever it is that God has called us to do in this world is totally worth it. And He is worthy of us doing it with a great attitude. I remember years and years ago, I was at a Bible study and this lady was kind of confessing to her group, she said, I just have had such a bad attitude about home chores, doing dishes and doing laundry and doing cooking and all those things. And she said, I really had to change my thinking pattern and realize that when I'm doing laundry, I need to be grateful and say, Lord, thank you for giving us clothes. And when I'm cooking, say, Lord, thank you for giving us food. And when I'm doing dishes, Lord, thank you for giving us dishes that we can put our food on and that I have to wash, because there are people in the world who don't have these things. And so much of it is changing our perspective.
Yeah.
However, passing that on to our kids sometimes can be a bit of a challenge. Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.